All right, so now we've talked about paint color. Let's talk about the painting itself.
Yeah, Brian Spiro stopped by Rommel's Ace Hardware in Cambridge to get some tips from the experts when it comes to the kind of paint and accessories you should be using.
If you're looking to get some painting done in your home, this is the time of year to do it.
Spring is definitely our biggest paint season. You get a lot of people who are just getting out, the nicer weather. Also, the temperature is advantageous. You can't paint if it's too cold or too warm.
Sean Bounds is the general manager of Rommel's Ace Hardware in Cambridge. He says in most cases, painting a room in your home is one of those do-it-yourself projects.
As long as you get the right applicators, the right preparation, there's really no job around the house that a homeowner can't do themselves.
Sean says one of the paints to set your sights on, whether you're painting inside or out, is Clark & Kensington. Exclusive to Rommel's Ace Hardware, it came out last year and has several benefits. First, it's a paint and primer in one and is 100% latex.
You're eliminating the priming stage. Just on regular drywall, you can paint one coat, then come back once it's dry with a second coat, and you've eliminated the initial priming stage.
Sean says the Clark & Kensington paint also has what's called microbead technology. You're probably saying, what does that mean? To put it simply, it has to do with the microscopic components that make up paint.
Regular latex paint has clay basis to it. It's made from clay. So in other words, it has all the particles in it are rectangular, triangular. So when you're covering your paint, for them to actually fit together, it can take a lot more coats to actually have the same coverage. Whereas the microbead technology has rounded microls that form together, so even off one coverage and then your second coverage especially, you get far superior coverage to your standard latex paints.
Once you've picked out the right paint, make sure you get the right tools to do the job.
I strongly recommend using a nice brush. Cheap brushes, the bristles come off in your paint, they'll be on your walls. I know everybody thinks, oh, it's a throwaway brush, I'm gonna paint one time, but the quality of your paint's gonna be affected by that brush. Also, choosing the proper roller, not too thick as to have too much paint be on the wall, and not too thin to not get enough paint on your wall.
All right, Sean, so we talked about the paint. You're going to give us a demonstration here. What are we going to be doing?
Today we're going to paint on unfinished drywall. Certainly in your house, you're painting over an existing paint, all the rules still apply. First thing you do is just open your paint. Next step's going to be to stir it. If you bought the paint the same day, we shake it up, you can go home, it's fine to use. If it's sat for a day or so, I definitely recommend stirring the paint before you use it.
All right, I'll do that. All right, so this is all mixed. What's the next step here in the process?
Next step, you're going to pour it into your tray. Make sure you get a tray liner so you don't ruin your tray. Next thing we're going to do is actual painting. We're going to show cutting in. This is the angled brush. The angle enables you to paint a much straighter line. All right, let's go ahead and dip the brush. We're going to dip it about a quarter way up the bristles to get enough paint on it. Run it across the liner so you don't have too much paint dripping.
All right.
Then we're cutting in. We have a pre-taped drywall here. We want long, smooth, horizontal strokes.
All right, so how am I doing?
Oh, you're a regular modern-day Picasso.
It's not the first time I've heard that. And with that said, we're going to stop here with the angled brush, which we used for our edging. What about the roller now?
The roller is actually, there's a lot of different techniques that people probably aren't aware of. The first thing you're going to do is you always want to paint in a 3 to 4 foot section. You apply the paint, you put a big W on the wall, you will fill in horizontally across the W, and then you will always end with long vertical strokes. This will keep it seamless from section to section. How you know you have enough paint on your roller is you should only be dipping your roller the one time to paint this whole 3 to 4 foot section.
So now that I've finished that, we have a finished product over here, the finished wall. Talk to me about dry times.
The Clark & Kensington paint dries the touch in about a half an hour. You need to allow approximately an hour to 2 before you would apply another coat, and at least 2 full weeks before you would try to wash the wall.
If choosing one or more colors for a room is overwhelming for you, these color cards at Rommel's Ace Hardware can help you decide on accent colors.
They actually show you in a room set up with the different colors, with the complementary colors with it as well, to give you a much better idea of what it could look like in an actual scenario instead of just being on a flat piece of paper.
Finally, Sean adds it's important for homeowners to choose the right sheen depending on the surface they're painting and know the square footage of the area you'll be working on. That will ensure you buy enough paint to get the job done.
And Sean says the Clark and Kensington paint is also mold, mildew, and algae resistant.
It's also scrubbable, which is probably music to a lot of parents' ears.
Absolutely.